Chris, good morning.
Good morning, Eric.
Thanks a lot for coming. I'm very impressed to be there in London, in the middle of Coys territory. Your auction company was founded in 1919. Can you tell me more about the story, the origin of your company?
The Coys story, it's a very interesting story. It goes back, as you say, to 1919. Mr. Coy was a pilot in the First World War for the Royal Flying Corps, for the British Air Force. After the war was finished, he realised one important thing, and that was that people weren't going to go back to horses. The horse was now finished. He'd seen the troops, he'd seen the soldiers from his aeroplane in tanks, in trucks, mechanised. And he realised that...
He said that the engine will be the future.
The engine is the future.
Yeah.
The engine is the future.
Yeah.
The horse is now for pleasure. But in those days in Britain, in London specifically, the big problem was gasoline. Where do you buy gasoline? And in this period of time...
The same thing all over the world during this period.
There was no distribution network. So you would go to the pharmacy. Your chauffeur would go to the pharmacy and buy 50 litres. So what Coy did, having this vision, was bought some fuel trucks from the Air Force that were finished and started the very first gasoline station in Britain, in Queensgate Mews, where the company remained for 87 years in the same location. The client list was the royal family, Winston Churchill, amazing, amazing customers.
Fine historic automobiles, vintage is a very fashionable concept today. How do you explain that?
Nostalgia has always been a very strong emotion. And in an era, as we have now in the 21st century, where so much is mass-produced, so much is the same. So if you look on the streets of London or in Paris, you will see the cars, the Peugeots, the Citroens, they all look the same. But vintage cars have a heart, have a soul. They're designed by people, there's emotion and there's energy.
Is it a good investment to decide to buy or to sell historic fine automobiles?
Traditionally, historic motor cars have always represented certainly a very good place to keep your money. They have a lot of enjoyment. So many people collect art, sits on the wall. If you have a vintage car, you have the opportunity to use this car, to express your feelings through the car. So from
you said it's a good place for your money. What is the person per year, for instance?
Well, okay, talking real numbers. Talking real numbers. Okay, in the last 10 years, the cars have increased over 400%. So this is better than any stock you can own. This is better than wine.
You're right.
Everything. You know, you can't beat that. And I think one of the reasons for that, Eric, is because, of course, it's such a global appeal. When we first, 20, 25 years ago, the market was pretty much based around, you know, France, Britain, Europe, and America. Now, it's completely global. We have clients in South Africa, Argentina, Brazil, Mexico, Indonesia, China, Hong Kong, you know, all over the world, and also many new clients from Eastern Europe. You have a situation where not only have the cars increased in value enormously, but that's an honest increase because it's supply and demand. You now have a marketplace which is also 4 times bigger.
Yes, I understand. Come back on Coy company.
Yeah.
What is the difference, or maybe differences, between your company and your main competitors?
Passion, focus, and history.
Okay, can you explain passion?
Passion because we do one thing. Okay, our competitors, the other esteemed auction houses, their motoring department is one of many departments. Yes. When they have an auction, the assistants, maybe yesterday we're doing a picture auction, maybe tomorrow they're doing a silver auction. Our assistants, they do one thing. They do historic cars. It's passion. We have a focus because of this. We do one thing every day, all day, and that's all we do. We don't have our auctioneers working in other departments, in other markets. We're focused. And also, we have the history, and we do one thing, and we do it very, very well. So I respect the other international auction houses and the departments they have, but to my mind, as a car man, they're just departments. We live this.
How did you decide to come in this Paris car show? Tell us more about it.
France is a country that we're familiar with and we have connections with. So it was about the fact that we wanted to try something different, something broader, something braver than just jumping on the bandwagon. We're looking at about 70. In total. And it's very important, and our relationship with Le Mondial is very important, that we're also offering something that it's not just about people coming to see and buy cars. We're also looking at providing a spectacle for the citizens of Paris and the attendees of the show itself. So we want people to come along and look into the auction, and we want to take their breath away.
Yes, you're right. What is the more expensive car did you auction?
Most recently, one of the more expensive cars we sold was an Alfa Romeo Monza, which we sold for just over £12 million.
Just on your back, Chris.
Yeah.
You have a BB512.
Yeah. What's really important about this car, surprisingly, for a Ferrari, is it's not red. And so many Ferraris from this period were supplied red. This was the fashion. This car was supplied new in this colour, in the metallic grey, and this makes it now very rare. 8 out of 10 of its brothers were all red. This might have been, you call it the black sheep of the family, but now, 30 years later, it's much more interesting.
Chris, is it a very rare model?
Yes. It's
Why?
It's very early ones. These early ones were actually not built by Porsche. You'll see the body, the maker on the side here.
Oh, that's the iconic brand.
That's who built the bodywork.
This one will be there to Paris.
This is going to be in Paris.
For the French auction.
For the French auction. Yeah. It's a really lovely thing. I mean, the finishing on it, the quality, everything is correct.
It's a dream. I'm not hangover.
No.
Look at it, James Bond.
Yeah.
It's incredible.
These are both James Bond cars. James Bond drove an Aston Martin DB5 in Goldfinger and in Thunderball.
Oh, Goldfinger movie.
Yeah, and then he also drove an Aston Martin DBS on Her Majesty's Secret Service. So both of these Aston Martins are Bond cars.
What's incredible diamond? What is the story
Well,
of this
I mean,
car?
this-
It's incredible. The color is
Well,
incredible.
I think
For
most-
Ferrari, it's very rare too.
Yeah, it's very rare. It's a 512. It's a very late cut. It's one of the last
Yeah.
ones they ever made of this type. And again, what's really significant about this machine is that it's not red. This is now in England, soon to be in France, and we don't know. I mean, Paris is it's going to be an international auction. It's an international motor show. It's the biggest motor show in the world. People from all over the planet are going to be there. This car could go anywhere in the world.
Chris, good luck for your
Eric.
exceptional event.
Thank you very much.
It was a great time for me to meet you. Thank you
Great,
very
and
much.
thanks so much for
Thank you
coming.
very much.
All the
Thank
best.
you.